and at the end of your live launch. So the very first thing that we're going to be needing to send is your acceptance, confirmation, acceptance, and rejection emails. Then you'll have your training reminders that let them know you're about to go live, followed by your cart is open, or your sales are now, your sales emails that mention that your cart is now open, and finally a request for feedback. What does that look like in terms of volume? You're going to have 3 emails from your registration confirmation to then an acceptance or rejection that will have you create. We have our training reminders, so there's 3 or 4 emails there. Sales, again, is another 3 or 4 emails about the program being open for enrollment and getting them to you. And then finally, at the end of your cart close, you'll have a feedback email that goes out asking them to provide their thoughts and feedback on the launch that you just did. So let's get started. So we're going to head into FG Funnels, which is our email automation system, and give you a good idea of how to create these automations so that all of your emails go out like clockwork. And it's all set up in advance between yourself and your VA so that during the actual launch, you are not manually sending anything out. So the very first thing, if you are using FG Funnels, is you need to draft your emails. So you might write this in a Google Doc and then share it with your VA, and they plug all those emails into your email automation system and the workflows of the automations. Or you might build them right here in FG Funnels. It's up to you and what works best. But for this process within FG Funnels, you actually need to create an email. And so we do it under marketing and email. I'm just going to pick a template. You would, of course, have your templates designed for your brand or business, right? I would come in here and I would first rename my email something that has, the launch date in here in there. So I'm going to say test launch confirmation. And I would write my confirmation email out. So I'm going to hit save. And in my settings, I want to make sure that I'm putting this information, because in FG Funnels, it auto-populates for us if this is already filled out. So now you've written all your emails in here. The next thing we need to do is we need to create a tag. So within your email automation system, you want to create something that is going to let you segment out those that are joining for this launch from everybody else in your contact list, because you only want to send your reminders and your confirmations and acceptance emails to those that are looking to participate. So I'm going to go to contact. I'm going to pull this up, and the way to create a tag in FG Funnels is to have a dummy email in here like your own and just be able to add anybody and everybody to it. So over here we have tags, and I have these tags with which I've already created, and or your participants, your contact list has already participated in with you. So I'm going to put test tag, and now test tag is assigned to me as a contact, and we'll be able to use this for other contacts. Your email automation system or CRM system may be one where you can create a tag in a list, not tied to a particular contact, and that's perfect. But our tag is what's going to be the trigger with our systems to allow anybody who gets that tag to then receive the specific emails for this launch. So the next thing we want to do is we want to create a workflow or an automation that's going to send these emails to the participants that register. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a folder that's going to contain all the emails I want to send with this launch. So I'm going to start from scratch, create, and just like everything else, I want to name my tags, my emails, my workflows or automations. I want them all to have the launch name in there. So launch March 2022, and this is the confirmation email. The reason you really want to make sure your labeling is correct throughout everything is you might be looking through your list of contacts and all you see is live launch as a tag. Well, that doesn't really tell you, if you do multiple live launches, which one it was that they participated in. So we definitely want to make sure your segmentation is clear and rememberable. Something that when you look at it later, you're like, oh yeah, I know what that means. And not something where you wonder, what does that acronym stand for? What was that date? So make sure that you've got all the important details succinctly listed. So we want to create a trigger, so I just clicked in this box, and we want to select the thing that's going to allow somebody to get on this. So we created our tags, so we want to make sure that contact tag, when it's added, they are put to this list to receive a confirmation email that they requested to register. I'm going to look for my tag. So we've got contact tag, tag added, test tag, and I'm going to say the name of my tag is this, so I remember. And the very first thing we're going to do, where there's no wait, there's no delays, we want to send an email. So we're going to send our confirmation email, and because we've already written them all up, we want to choose that template. So I'm just going to put test launch, and it populated all of that information that I put on that email. So I don't have to retype anything. I do it once, and it'll show for me. In FG Funnels, because you built that under the email builder, where you can have things like images and font colors and dividers and all of that, it will not show you this preview. However, if you make changes to that email, any new person to receive it will get that updated version as long as you hit save when you're creating it. So this is a really nice feature. Just click save, and now everybody will get their confirmation email. You do need to put your workflow to publish, so that as soon as your ads start running or you start emailing your current contact list and those leads come in, you're going to get their confirmation that you received the request to register. The next step, you have 2 options. You can choose to accept everybody, even if your verbiage says, apply to be a beta tester or apply to this live launch. You can still choose to accept everybody. If that is the route you choose to go, then you are going to add in a wait, because you don't want to send them a confirmation and then immediately send them an acceptance, right? We want to put a little bit of space in there. So maybe you have 2 hours. Oops, 2 hours. And we're going to save. And let's say wait 2 hours. I remember my own meeting convention. And then we'll send another email. And I'm just going to choose the same one, but you would have written an acceptance email that you would plug in here. So now everybody who registers is going to get confirmation that they accept this out, and then they'll get their acceptance email. And you can even title these. So if I just click on email, I can rename this to say confirmation email, so I know what it is that they're getting at this step, and I can rename this to be acceptance email. I'm going to hit save just because I like to keep saving as I'm working on things. The next piece I want to go to is settings, and I want to make sure that it's sending windows anytime, so that this workflow isn't waiting for it to only be Monday to Friday, that it is sending anytime somebody gets that tag added, and the rest of this is perfect. We do not want to allow multiple, so if somebody, for whatever reason, comes to this workflow multiple times, they're only getting one. We're not bombarding them with additional confirmation emails, and we hit save, and it is published. We are good to go. So that was our very first one. So I have the launch confirmation, and I'm going to create another one. I should have created a folder, and we can easily move this to this folder. So now if I go in, I'm going to create my next email that's going to be based on a reminder to send out for our session 1. So I'm going to start another workflow. And this is set up slightly different, so I still want to name this. So March 2022, launch session 1, reminder. And I'm going to come down here and I'm going to set the trigger that everybody with that tag, because we want to get all folks lined up for these so we don't manually add the later, right? So if anybody who gets that tag is a participant, so they should all be getting this set up. So here's our test tag. And I'm going to hit save. The way to set up a wait so that nobody gets this immediately is to do it by date. And date is set up in settings. So if your first session is March, let's see here. We'll go to 2022. March. Let's say your first session is Tuesday the 15th at noon. So I've got 12 a.m. I want to make that p.m. It's not going to update that until I go out of this window and come back. So here's my first live session. I'm going to go live at noon on the 15th. What this allows me to do by setting an event start date is I can now set my waits within my workflow here to be before or after that time. And it lets you get really specific. So because I know that I want to send a 1 hour reminder before I go live, I'm going to create that wait. So if I click on the little plus sign and I come to wait, I'm going to do it by appointment time, which is, it's called events, dates, and time over in settings, but in here it's the same as appointment time. And we want before the actual date that we set. So we want hours of 1 minute, and you can do 30 minutes, an hour, your settings may vary. And then we're going to leave everything else. So this portion down here is specifically talking about if somebody were to enter this workflow after that 1 hour mark to get that email, it's going to skip them past that and put them at the next step. So they won't get that email. They will go to the next waiting period before the next email or text or whatever happens to be set up in this process. So I'm going to hit save. I should say week 1 hour before, and then we're going to send our reminder. So again, you would choose the email template that you named it. So yours would probably be session 1 reminder, and that would go out. And I'm going to do this for each one. So I'm going to first push publish. I'm going to hit save, and you can very easily duplicate this. So here's my reminder 1. I'm going to just hit the clone, and I'll make this a 2, and create. So session 2, if I go in here, I can change my date. So maybe my next one is on the 17th at 12 p.m. So here's my 12 p.m. I hit save. It's still going to have that 1 hour before. This is based on 12 p.m. on the 17th. So it'll go out at 11 a.m. And I would update my email to be the session 2 email. I hit save, or publish and save. Sorry about that. Publish and save. Now, session 3 is going to be a little bit different. So I'm still going to copy, but the reason it's different is now we're going to have our first sales email go out. So I will show you how to get that set up so that you can see the before and after waits for setting your reminder and follow-up emails within that same day. So session 4, we'll go to settings, and we're going to choose, let's say our session 4 is on the 22nd, or sorry, session 4, session 3. So session 3 at 12 p.m., and we'll go back to our actions, and make sure we're changing our email to session 3, right? So we would change out this template so it populates. And then we want to put in a wait, because we're going to send our first email for telling people that enrollment's open into our program. So based on the date and time, the fact that I'm going live for the session 3 at noon on the 22nd, I want to send this afterwards. So maybe at 2 p.m. I want this email to go out, or maybe at 4 p.m. I want this email to go out. So let's do 4. So I'll change hours. So if my appointment time was at noon, I want this to go out at 4 p.m. Then I'm waiting 4 hours. And I'll hit save. And then, I'll name this wait until 4 p.m. And then we'll send an email. And let's see here. We'll just say cart open, whatever we happen to name yours. And now they'll get the reminder email. So we'll rename this, just say reminder. And this is doors open. And that will ensure that they get those emails that are needed. So you're going to do this for all of your emails. If you have emails going out in between your sessions, so maybe you've got something going out over the weekend between session 2 and session 3, then you can easily come in here and instead of using your session as your marking point, go ahead and make it 8 a.m. and then just use the appointment date time to be, so if I change this to 8 a.m., And I hit save. I go to my actions. I can then say, okay, at 8:30 or 9 a.m. I want this email to go out. So you can, just change the workflow mentality. Instead of being a live session, you're just picking a date and time that email is going to have its weights marry up for getting it out the door. So all of this is how you're going to set up your emails, your feedback, sales, all of that. How does somebody get this tag? That is the next question, right? So one is going to be lead ads, and there's a video on how to create a zap from your lead ad to your email CRM. But there's the other list that's going to be organically coming in. So maybe you have a form that's been built in Typeform or Google Forms, or maybe there's a native form within your website hosting platform that you've created, just something that allows people who are already on your list, or that maybe you have coming through your lives that you're going to be doing to promote. They all have to go somewhere to get on your list, right? They're not going through an ad. So we need to create that zap to get them into your email CRM. So when you come into Zapier, you're going to hit create zap. And let's just say we're using Google Forms. So we'll choose Google Forms. This might have been, it could have been Typeform, it could have been Google Forms, it could be your website's platform that you're connecting. Wherever that form is, that is your trigger. So we're using Google Forms, and our trigger is a new response, right? We want any new response to a particular form, and we'll tell it the form in a second, to then take these next actions. So choose your account. If you've never created or connected your Zapier account to Google Forms or Typeform or anything like that, it will walk you through it when you go to do so. And now I'm just going to choose a spreadsheet that we can use. Let's see here. So you choose the name of your sheet. For us in Google Forms, they all get pushed to a sheet. In Typeform, you would be choosing the applicable setting. For us, we're going to use this, and then the worksheet is the tab. And what I hit was test trigger, so I'll hit continue. And you do need to just test. So if you haven't already gone through your form yourself, go through your form so that you can make sure all of this works. So now we've got a valid spreadsheet hooked up for our form. And the next is the action. So we wanted to add those that enter the form into our email CRM. So FG Funnels is actually on a platform called High Level. So I'm going to look up High Level. And the action event is to add or update a contact. So if they are in my contact list, great. Let's just update them with the tag. If they're not, we're going to create it. So that's what add update contact is. Choose the account. And then you're going to fill these sections in. So your first name, last name, and email, right? And you're going to pick those fields, email. So you would pick those fields from the information that came in on your form. So I'm not going to fill these out because I'm not going to share anybody's data. But the piece that you really want to make sure you get after your name and email address is you need to add their tag. So we had test tag. And this is not one you would choose from responses or anything like that. You're going to type it in, and it needs to be the same tag that you just set up your triggers to be. And if you didn't have those set up, then when you create your Zap and you test it, you won't know if you created those workflows correctly with the right trigger to add people to them so they can receive those emails. So make sure you do the email portion first and get all of that set up, and then have your VA come in and set up all of the tags, all of the Zaps. So I need to do this because it's a mandatory field. In FG Funnels, you have to mark it as a lead, true or false. And then we'll scroll down to the bottom and we'll hit continue. So then you'll do a test action, and that test will go in and show up in FG Funnels, and you will start to see when you come over here, you'll see a number enrolled. You should have one enrolled in here. Give it a couple minutes just to have everything flow through and show up. It should be relatively quick, no more than about 30 seconds to 60 seconds, but just be aware that there is sometimes just a little bit of delay in populating everything through. So you would then see one enrolled person. It should be yourself from when you did your test of your Typeform or your Google form to be able to get people in here. Now, if this was something that you created in FG Funnels, then you're not even needing to do the Zapier piece. So when you create an FG Funnels, you would actually create a trigger. And I'll show this really quickly. I'm going to add a trigger. So this would be March launch 2022. Folder name. Oh, we don't need a folder, sorry. So just hit save. And we're going to look for the trigger to be, again, just like in Zapier, a form. So form submitted, add the filter. Form is, so we're going to pick our form. Let's see here. We'll say it's our feedback form just to have a placeholder here. And then add the action. We want to add a tag, contact tag. And here, if we start typing test, you will find test tag. So now it'll add this. And once we hit save and we make this active, anytime somebody gets test tag added from this point forward, so once this is an active trigger in FG Funnels, somebody will be added to those workflows. So let's go check that out. So I'll go back to contacts, and we'll go back into support, and I'm going to delete and remove that tag. Test tag. I'm going to hit save, and we'll go back to our workflows. So you have to click away here. Go to your folder for your launch. And now you can see one person actively enrolled. If I want to know who that person is, if I just click, I can see it's myself. So that is how you would set up, one, your Zapier if you're not using FGFunnels, to get folks from your form to your list organically, or within FGFunnels, how you would take your form within FGFunnels and set a trigger so that they also get added to all of your email automations and workflows. It's now time for you to take action. So the first thing you need to do is you need to draft all of your emails, whether you're doing that within the FGFunnel Marketing Email Builder, where you can have things branded, or you're doing that in a Google Doc and you're having your VA then put them into your email automation. Either way, you need to get all of your copy for your emails written. Then you need to have your VA go in and create your automations, add your emails to them, as well as get your Zap set up for your organic traffic or the trigger if you're using FGFunnels. From there, we'll see you in the next lesson.
Hey.